911 emergency.
You're not gonna believe this, but I just saw Bigfoot.
Excuse me?
You need to get somebody out here. We're about 10 miles south of town.
Sir, calm down and explain what you saw.
Harry, Bigfoot.
Sir, if this is not a medical emergency, please hang up and call the proper authority.
I've got video. I've got video to prove it. I'll prove it. You'll see.
Just over by the table. Got it. Here, go help your brother set up the tent.
No, did Mom even say you could bring that piece of scrap metal?
Something to drink. Why are you not helping?
I'm doing my thing.
Could you maybe regulate?
Let's go get firewood and make yourselves useful.
Stop following me with that thing. I think Papa wants to do it. Mom! Dad! Come quick!
What?
Just come here and I'll show you!
Holy
Now this is your classic faked Bigfoot video. It's got all the telltale signs. Second-rate acting. The camera angles are terrible. Now, let's scroll over here to frame 352. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, this is clearly a fake, obviously amateurs. You can tell by the pixels. We've had a whole rash of these this summer. But now, there's so many of them out there, they have to add a new twist to get noticed. Take this one, for example. That is some sweet upper body strength, tell you what. Or how about this one? And finally.
Hey! Dude, what the? That's my brush! What the F?
And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Hoaxing is a big industry these days. Everyone wants to become famous. Yes, I enjoy the work. It's like being a freelance detective. The only person I have to answer to is myself. Does get on your nerves now and then. You know, you sit through hours and hours of grainy video. I get the feeling that no matter what I do, the true believers out there, the Sasquatch watchers, they're never gonna believe me. They're running on faith, and you can't change a person's faith. Only they can do that. All big footage is faked. You know, the worst part about this whole thing is I wish it was true. I really do. But it's not. They don't exist. I'm never gonna see an authentic Bigfoot video.
Let's face the facts here. Suppose for a moment that there is a creature that stands 7 feet or more high, weighing upwards of 1,000 pounds, just roaming about the countryside. Suppose also that this creature has evaded detection for generation after generation, living in complete isolation. We could ignore for a moment all the scientific problems with this idea. Problems such as mammalian lifespan, evolutionary trees, sustainability in the population. Nobody really cares about science these days anyway, or gives it any credence. But it does not take a scientific mind to know that any living animal leaves behind traces. The larger the animal, the larger the traces. And if this animal happens to pass away, it's going to leave even more traces. The fact of the matter is, there really are no credible traces of a modern-day Bigfoot, which really isn't that surprising. If you think about it, things don't leave traces if they don't exist.
Yeah, I started debunking Bigfoot videos about 2 years ago. I went and bought all this expensive equipment. You know, no one pays me for this. I don't get any recognition. I do it because I want people to see the truth. You'll never see me in a costume. No, sir. Especially not that one.
I'm Zara. When it comes to Bigfoot, I'm neither a believer nor a non-believer. I'd seen him on TV, in the papers, and in the movies, but I'd never had a reason to believe. Then there's my dad's story. Do you think Dad is lying about Bigfoot?
Yeah. No. Dad doesn't lie.
Well, he lied about the tooth fairy.
Dad is so weird.
No, he's not.
I have been a very frequent mountain climber. I was climbing the Chuchana mountain a couple summers back, and something strange happened. It was hot. It was very humid. Very tiring, long day. I was about 10 miles away from my camp. All of a sudden, I hear a thunderstorm. The storm just started approaching towards me. And as I was walking away from the storm, heading towards the camp, from the corner of my eyes, I could see something strange. Something very hairy, something very tall, 500 or more pounds. A very interesting character. I was scared. I was nervous. I did not know what to do. All of a sudden, he had to rush away. Slowly but surely, the big, gigantic creature just vanished.
Had my father seen Bigfoot that day? He is an honest man, but I wanted to learn more. I had already heard from plenty of non-believers and thought it was about time to hear from some believers. I decided to start my investigation in the Bigfoot capital, a small town in southeast Idaho. First, I decided to talk to a few of the locals. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Show me evidence that Bigfoot doesn't exist. Why is the burden of proof on the true believers? That never made sense to me.
Sasquatch or Bigfoot, I think is actually Canadian. I think it's actually a Canadian government lab experiment gone awry. I think he's escaped out there, but you never see the bodies. I think they put trackers in them. That way they can go back and retrieve them in the wild. You know, they're hairy creatures anyway. They can't be from the desert. They got to be from the north, I would think. So I think they're migrating down. They've escaped the lab, and so yeah.
He's real. He's out there. And there's no remains. There's no remains because he's an interdimensional creature.
Where do you think Bigfoot came from?
Los Angeles. It's Robin Williams. He just goes camping, forgets his razor, and goes for a walk through the woods. And the paparazzi are there, so they take pictures. I saw Bicentennial Man.
He pops in, he pops out. He's up in the hills at this very instant. Unless the UFOs have taken him someplace else, I don't know their business.
Have you ever seen Bigfoot?
I've never seen, but I've felt. And my dogs have smelt them. I'm pretty sure. It's something big out there in the hills hiking around, so. And your dog keeps looking behind you, you just keep going forward. I don't look back.
There's more evidence for Bigfoot than there is of the moon landing. The moon landing. The biggest crock that was ever foisted on the American public. But with Bigfoot, we have hard evidence right here on Earth. We've got foot casts. We've got hand casts. Hell, there's a fella at the university got a butt cast. We got scat. We got hair. What more do you want? Do we have Neil Armstrong's scat? He doesn't even have hair.
Not only did many of the locals believe in Sasquatch, but some even claimed to have a personal relationship with him.
Well, you know, it is a little lonely living out here in the country. But once I met Bigfoot, it's given me a purpose to be alive. You know, that is a very rude name, Bigfoot. My boys had big feet, and I didn't call them Bigfoot. I just don't think that's right. I think we should be respectful. I'd like to call him Woodman. Yeah. Woodman. Every evening, this is what I do. Every evening I make a mayonnaise sandwich and a special treat, tang. And then I wait. And in the evening, I go back, and you know what? Every evening, there's not one thing left on that plate. Not one crumb left on that plate. He just eats everything. Oh, he is so polite. He needs respect. He needs his space. Especially since those boys have started chasing him with their pickup trucks. They're always harassing him. Oh, I don't know what to do about that.
I've hosted 36 missions across the last 2 years. I've seen Bigfoot 3 times, Trace, Spanish for 3. Most people get close to Bigfoot, well, they get eaten alive. You've got to have the right equipment. GPS, night vision cam, headlamps, duck jerky, camo jacket, camo pants, and of course, a military-grade infrared heat gun.
More than just sighting Bigfoot, Randy profits from his expeditions by offering tours. Members of a Bigfoot tour get first-hand experience with tracking.
All of the weight is upon the forward arch, very typical of the Sasquatch.
They're known for their bunions and corns that they develop on their heels due to walking great distances.
Collecting samples,
That's a keeper.
and last but not least, training on what to do in the event of a Bigfoot encounter.
Nature. Vast. Beautiful. Treacherous. I'm Randy Ronald, and unless you listen to what I have to say, you and your loved ones' lives might be in danger. Every year, millions of people enter the woods. Few of them return. But why? It's not bears, it's not mooses, it's not quicksand. It's Mother Nature's most highly regarded secret. It's, dare I say it, Bigfoot. Most people's first reaction to seeing a Bigfoot is grabbing their video camera. Take it from me, that is a terrible mistake. Bigfoot is built like a tank, he's got fangs like a rattlesnake, and he's got BO so toxic, it'll make a grown man shriek and cry for his mama. So what you gotta do is calmly walk away, find a safe location, and call me, Randy, at 1-800-BIGFOOT. That's 1-800-BIGFOOT. Yeah, take that Squatch down. God damn it, I'm Randy, and mark my words, if you don't call me, you're marked for death.
Yes. Somebody made a pretty wild cast. This little kingfisher makes a living here. So yes, the big misconception is that Sasquatch is flesh and blood. He's not. He is a manifestation of psychic turbulence from the outer universe, here to teach us lessons. To teach us that we cannot know everything. And that's why, I mean, everybody's seen him, but nobody has ever gotten any physical evidence of him, other than the fact that he will appear like as footprints or as a sound, but when everybody tries to photograph him, it's usually futile.
Actually, I don't like talking about him because I think people ought to leave him alone. He doesn't mess with us. I certainly don't want to mess with him. Maybe that's why he's so egregious to come to see us.
Is my transducer on? Because I'm getting a reading. There we go.
They don't want humans bothering them. They try very hard to stay away. The only time they really make a lot of noise or even become obvious is trying to warn people to leave them alone, like a bear will. Bears don't want to mess with human beings.
I have this theory too that I think he lives out in the lava tubes in the craters of the moon, where he dines on huckleberries and various herbs and picks up an elk every once in a while. And if it were true that lava tubes underlie this whole country, it means he can pretty much travel unencumbered through all of southern Idaho without ever being seen. Sasquatch is meek and mild and lives in harmony with the earth. However, he must look out for the Russians and the Chinese. But I mean, that's the thing. This is just too rough a world for him. He just visits us to show us a little bit of the mystery of the universe He vanishes into other dimensions. Is my transducer on?
Yeah, I grew up here. I'm from here. I usually ride my bike around town, so I know all the back alleys, I know the streets. I know everything. Basically, if you want to know, you ask me.
Nah, the hippies are wrong. Squatch doesn't live in the woods anymore. Think about it. This guy has to lay low. Where's the best place to do that? The cities, man. What's up?
Welcome to the Underground Railroad. The paparazzi drove Squatch out of the woods. I'm not saying he's living next door or paying rent and buying groceries. Squatch is always on the move. There's at least 4 safe houses I know of. There are humans in on it too. You know, taking care of his food and his transport. Nobody said Squatch was living in the Ritz. Check this out. Squatch hair.
People need to keep a close eye on their kids, or else Bigfoot'll snatch them up. I know a guy who was kidnapped. It's not a pretty story.
You hear about kids being abducted by Bigfoot. I was one of those kids. He took me when I was 3 years old and kept me in a cage made out of sticks. I had to escape using only my teeth. He did horrible things to me. I don't like to talk about it.
Eager to protect Idaho's youth, concerned citizens have mobilized against Bigfoot. Randy has agreed to take us on a Bigfoot mission. He's taking us to an area where several sightings have been reported.
I don't believe all that local legend hubbub until I check it out for myself. Get in there. What I'd really like to find is like a den, a whole family of Squatch. It'd be great to find like some kids and sell them off or whatever. That way they got a long lifespan ahead of them. You don't want some old Squatch that's gonna die in captivity. That won't prove anything.
Destination, Bigfoot Site 2.
Let's get out there. I got a good feeling about today. My Squatch senses are tingling. I brought Betty along. Them college doctors want a body. Me and Betty are happy to oblige.
We are headed deep into Bigfoot territory, what the locals call Shadow Ridge.
Old Foot's here, all right.
Randy has instructed us to be on the lookout for common signs of Bigfoot, including footprints and strong odors.
I can taste him.
We must also listen for tree knocks, the creature's primary method of communication with other members of its family.
Sorry. Stay back now. Things could get ugly. We don't want an attack. Goddamn sticks. Nothing that time. But there are definitely signs of life in these woods. I didn't get scared.
You see that?
Hold up, you hear that? Big footsteps. Harry, son of a bitch, you're mine! I got one! A baby of Bigfoot! Yeah! All right! Oh, God damn it!
Oh my god. Oh my god. Call 911.
Ah, what the hell are you doing out here? You shot me, you Ow! Ah! Get an ambulance! Come on, man!
Call 911.
Ah! Ah! Well? In most states, it's against the law to shoot at Bigfoot. That is a law I do not agree with. If we're to stop people from shooting at Bigfoot, then what's to stop people from going out in the woods and posing as them as frauds? Shame on them. Shame on them.
You'll never see me in a costume.
Well, I've met a lot of interesting people, but as interesting as they may be, they're not very convincing. Now, as far as my dad's Bigfoot story goes, it's compelling, but I just don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm just ready to go home.